Hey, I'm Josh. You might have found this video in your related videos feed, and you were like, why didn't that come up in my subscriptions feed? The reason is because I didn't put it in your subscriptions feed, because this video is going to be very different than my normal vlogs. This is a mindfulness meditation video, a little experiment I've been doing recently to hopefully give you the chance to step out of perhaps stress or anxiety that you're feeling, perhaps help you fall asleep at night, something like that. So maybe watch it, see if you like it. If it's not for you, no problem. What we're going to do today is we'll start off with a couple deep breaths. I will say some things that we will ponder together, and then we will do a sort of body scan relaxation exercise. If you're coming back to this video after seeing it before and you want to go straight to the relaxation / mindfulness meditation exercise, I will put a timecode link in the underbar so you can know where to skip ahead to. So let us first, like how I just said, lettuce, using vegetable words now. Lettuce, peas, turn up for each other and turn down for what? Let us now take 3 deep breaths, just to help us, be a little more centered, etc. before I say anything else. Okay, so breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. So when I was in high school, I think maybe a little middle school and a little bit after high school too, I went through this sort of phase of life where I was very into that so-called motivational phrase, like live every day as if it is your last, or like live this moment as if it is your last. Some of that was probably born out of the fact that I had had childhood cancer, that I had a 50% chance to live, and I felt like I had sort of had this second chance at life and I needed to make the most of it, quote unquote. And I thought the best way of doing that was living as if it was my last moment or whatever. Now, of course, there's nothing inherently wrong with using that as your life motto or phrase if that is something that is useful to you. But for me, it just created this like enormous amount of pressure and then guilt when I lived in a way that was not as if it was my last minute of life. Like I was always just like, like, oh man, if this was my last day of life, or like my last minute of life, like I would probably do something crazy. Or, it was just like so weird. Like I would literally like walk through airports specifically. I don't know what it was about airports, maybe just that I was like by myself and just thinking a lot, which is generally not a good thing for me. And so I'd be like in airports, and I remember, and this is of course, years before I ever had my first girlfriend, or before I'd even kissed anyone, many years before that. And I was like, man, I've never kissed anyone, but like if this was my last day on earth, I would just like pick some attractive girl and just walk up to her and be like, excuse me, have you ever kissed a stranger in an airport? And she would be like, no. And I would be like, would you like to? And she would probably be like, no. And then she would walk away. But I would be unfazed by this rejection because it is my last day to live. This is what I imagine. But, I would just maybe keep doing that. And then one girl would be like, this is a really strange question, but you seem attractive. I'm intrigued by this social experiment. Yes, let us now kiss. Of course, she would also use the word let us because she was so formal and strange in her interest in kissing a stranger in an airport. And then I would kiss her and it would be magical and amazing, and I would feel satisfied that I would have lived that day as if it was my last. Of course, this is an absurd fantasy, but that is the sort of absurd fantasy that happened for me when I thought that that was like the most skillful or wise way to live, which I don't, at least for my personality, believe that is the case now. And here is the reason. If you imagine that the best way to live is the way you would live if it was your last day on Earth, and you imagine that your most important endeavor in life is to create a certain set of experiences or achieve a certain set of goals or become a certain sort of person, then you are inherently setting up a pretty large gap, most likely, between the way things are and the way that you think things should ideally be in your last day on Earth. In other words, you are fighting against circumstances that already exist right now. For example, if I were to say to myself right now, if this was my last day on Earth, I would go out in the street and dance or something. But instead, I'm sitting here recording a YouTube video. Then I feel this guilt because I'm like, oh man, I'm not actually living like it's my last day on Earth, therefore I'm a failure as a human being. Again, if that's a useful phrase for you, if it helps you overcome your fears, then great. I'm not trying to make a video rallying against this particular phrase. What I'm trying to point out is that creating an expectation in which you have to become someone else, or the circumstances of this moment have to be something else other than what they are, is inherently an exercise that creates nothing but guilt about who you think you should be instead of who you are, and dissatisfaction and stress and anxiety in which you think, oh, my circumstances or my behavior should be this certain way, but actually it's this other way, and now you feel terrible about it, and you're trying to approach your life as if it was this problem that needs to be solved. And that's where, as human beings, most of our stress and anxiety comes from. Is thinking that things should be another way other than the way that they already are. Now, if you have significant life-threatening emergencies, if you have problems in your life, yes, go solve them, of course. And if you aspire to achieve certain goals in life, if you aspire to make the world a better place, I hope you do. But right now, in this moment, things are a certain way. And by definition, you can't change them if they already are that way. So why not, for this moment at least, accept these circumstances? Instead of thinking, oh man, I've got to go and be crazy and kiss someone in an airport. Why not use your imagination and imagine what if this moment was fine? Was enough? What if you are already enough right now? What if what you're doing, where you're sitting, where you're laying, how you're feeling, how people are treating you, how your relationships are, what if all those things were okay? What if you could just accept them? See, that is an imaginative exercise that I think leads to a much healthier place. We're going to do a body scan, specifically something that I do myself. I sort of just made this up in the sense that it's like not something that I learned from someone else. It's a relaxation exercise that I found very useful in my own meditation practice. But the basic concept of a body scan is that you're just sensing the way you feel in different parts of your body. Perhaps you're sensing whether there's tension or stress there, and if so, maybe you're letting it go. And as you do this, you're probably in your mind thinking or saying to yourself the part of your body, whether it's your hands or your legs or your face or whatever, you're thinking of that part of your body. So the reason that this is so relaxing is twofold. Number one, because as I was alluding to just now in these words that I've been sharing with you, most of our stress as human beings comes from leaving this moment. In other words, it is rehashing or analyzing things that have happened already in the past, which inherently, by definition, we cannot change. Or it is, and probably more likely, imagining and planning for things in the future. Now, planning certainly has its place, and it is a great tool that we have in our mental toolbox. But for me, at least, and I think for a lot of people, we overuse the planning tool. And we're always imagining the future, which is literally just a thing that exists in our minds. It's not even like real. Like, it's not at all real. We're just playing these movies of our expectations instead of observing the things that are real right now. The sounds, the feelings, the sights, the smells around us. And therefore, we are missing out, literally, on our actual lives by spending our lives planning for the future. By thinking that this moment is simply a vehicle to get us to the next moment. By thinking that the next moment is more important than this one. By thinking that tomorrow is more important than today. And imagining that today is merely a step to take us to tomorrow. Which means that tomorrow we'll think the same thing about the next day. And we miss out on all of our todays. Now, that's not meant to be like a reverse guilt exercise, like, oh, you should feel guilty, you're living in the future instead of a bad day. No, it's not like that. But the point is, your mind is always going to want to go into the future and the past, because that's just the way your mind is like evolutionarily wired. That's fine. That'll always be that way. But here's the interesting thing, that your body does not have the capability to go into the past or the future. It's just no time travel has been invented yet. So your body, your sensory perceptions are always locked into the present moment, the now. They can't leave. They can only sense what is around you and what is happening at this very moment. So when you focus your attention, instead of on your thoughts, on your body, your attention is, by definition, immediately and only focused on what is happening right now. So that's reason number one why a body scan is a good relaxation exercise, because it breaks apart the thought stream of the future and the past and brings your focus, your attention onto the now through the body's sensory perceptions. Number two, because like I mentioned before, when you do a body scan, it's useful to be sort of saying some words in your mind about like the body section or the limbs or fingers or whatever that you are imagining. And the reason for that is simply because if you try to like just focus on your body or the now or whatever without putting some words in your mind, it is exceptionally difficult to concentrate, because your mind is just going to start throwing thoughts at you. Because that's what the mind does. It's just going to be like, oh, okay, that's interesting what you said about how you're like trying to be in the now, but hey, have you thought about what's going to happen tomorrow? You got that homework to do. You got to like talk to that person you have a crush on. And oh, have you thought about next week? You've got that test, right? The mind is always going to do that. And so then that's going to distract you from like the meditation or the relaxation or the mindfulness exercise you're trying to do. So it is a useful way to, you might say, block out the mind's stream of thoughts. To just also attach words to the exercise. Now the mind will still try to interrupt you, and that's totally fine. It's just what the mind does. But it's a little bit easier if you have some words sort of playing over top of that, I find. So the way the body scan loop that I like to do works is we are going to simply look at 3 parts of the body in a looping fashion, ergo the name. These are the parts of the body that I find are most likely for me to carry stress or tension, like to be, uptight or whatever, mostly as a result of my mind, right? You get anxious in your mind, and then that anxiety moves into your body, like your body tightens in response, right? It thinks, oh man, there's like a danger, there's a threat. It's time to get tense, to get ready to fight or flight. In other words, to respond to some imminent threat. So those parts of the body for me are my face, my stomach or belly or abdomen, and my hands. In the case of the hands and face, it's probably also a lot just because there's such a high density of nerves in those areas. So we also have a heightened ability to sense in those areas, so they're a good place to place our attention. So what we're going to do to start out with is simply, I'll say, relax the face, relax the belly or stomach, and relax the hands. And as I do that, just use those words in your mind. I'm teaching you this exercise so that you can do it on your own, right? So that you can think those thoughts, those words, whenever, anytime. You're laying in bed trying to fall asleep, you're stressed about something. But in this video, I will obviously say the words for you. But just think them in your mind to help you learn how to use them on your own. Okay? So there's no right or wrong way to do it. You might feel immediate relaxation, you might not. It's no big deal. But what you will be doing inherently is bringing yourself into the now, which I believe is a very good thing. Okay. So just as you think of that body part, just notice, is there any tension there, any stress? And if so, can you just let it go? Can you just let that tension melt away? Can you let that stress just, I don't know, I guess as they say in Frozen, can you just let it go? Can you let it go? All right, so relax your face, relax your stomach, relax your hands. Relax your face, relax your stomach, relax your hands. Just let all the tension go. Relax your face, relax your stomach, relax your hands. As thoughts come up, just see that your brain thought something and just let it go. Relax your face, Relax your stomach. Relax your hands. Relax your face. Relax your stomach. Relax your hands. Relax your face. Relax your stomach. Relax your hands. Relax your face. Relax your stomach. Relax your hands. Let's play with a different word. Let's use release. Same exercise, but see if that word is a better trigger for you or a helpful one to add after using relax. So release your face, the muscles, the skin, your eyes, your forehead, your tongue, your jaw. So much tension can be in your face. Just release your face. Let it be expressionless. Release your stomach, your belly. Release your abdomen, your abs. Release your hands. Every finger, both thumbs, your wrist. Release your face. Release your belly. Release your hands. Release your face. Release your belly. Release your hands. Release your face. Release your belly. Release your hands. Let's try one more word in this body scan loop, and that word will be sense. And instead of trying to make relaxation or release happen, right now let's just play with just sensing. See how much sensory perception you can pick up on, the surface of your skin, maybe tingling, maybe the temperature in your environment, and deeper underneath in the muscles, in the tendons. Can you sense any tension or relaxation, any fatigue or energy, anything? And you're just trying to sense. There's no right or wrong thing to sense. All you're doing is just trying to sense what's there. So sense the face. Sense stomach. Sense the hands. Sense the face. Sense the stomach. Sense the hands. Sense the face. Sense the stomach. Sense the hands. Sense the face. Sense the stomach. Sense the hands. This video will end now. I would encourage you to think of one of those three words: relax, release, or sense, whichever one feels best for you right now. And take a few more moments to practice this on your own. Take one of those words and just loop it through your face, your stomach, your hands. Just say that silently to yourself in your mind. And just see how your experience of this moment changes as you do that scan of your body. If you want to do the guided part of this exercise again, just look at the link in the underbar and rewind that time code.